Welcome to Apostates on the Fringe, an atheist leftist podcast brought to you by the Atheists of Knoxville. Ask.
Atheist Society?
Society.
There's a society in there, Sam.
But we're just atheists.
Welcome back,
in
Sam.
a society.
We missed you.
It's been a long 2 weeks.
We're your hosts. I'm Dustin.
Alistair.
And yeah, Sam, we talked mad shit about you when you weren't here last week.
Bet.
we knew we could get away with it because you don't listen.
You don't listen.
So
I'm going to listen to that episode. I just haven't had time yet.
Okay.
because you're not on it, you'll listen to it.
Yeah, because I'm not on it, I'll listen to it.
Because you hate because I hate editing because I fucking hate hearing my own voice. And I have to do it every time. And I always think I sound like a fucking monkey. I'm like, wow, you asshole, you really do talk too fast. Like, slow it the fuck down. Meanwhile, I fucking can't. I really can't, not talk fast, especially when I'm passionate about a subject. But then, I could probably at least a little bit, and it won't be so bad. Where people who tend to listen at 1.5 speed, they can't with me. Because they can't understand what the fuck I'm saying. Whereas
they just have to get you in even faster.
Right. So, Sam, I have beer again. I'm back to having alcohol.
Congratulations.
I'm excited about it. I picked up something I hadn't seen before. It's I'm going to butcher the shit out of this because it's Icelandic, I think. It's Einstock. It's an Icelandic toasted porter. I don't even know the brewing, but it's a Baltic porter brewed with Icelandic roasted coffee.
Icelandic roasted
coffee. It's when I picked it up, I just saw the word porter. I didn't even read the top to really know I was drinking yet again another coffee porter, instead of a coffee stout. But it's pretty good. It doesn't have a harsh aftertaste. It's pretty good. I think you'd like it. I think
probably. I like coffee porters. I'm drinking a pecan ale from Abita. I think I've had it before. It's the Go Nuts.
The GEA or GEUX, right?
It's good. Get those fall beers in while they're here before they force all those.
I only had the one fall beer, and it was a pumpkin, but two pumpkin. It was.
I overdosed on spice, on the pumpkin spice.
You went total white girl this fall with your beer.
I'm done.
You're done?
After one beer, one pumpkin latte, and one pumpkin muffin, I'm fucking done with it.
Al, what do you got?
I have Founder's Breakfast Stout. It's pretty good.
It's a good one.
I've had the one before. It is enjoyable.
Double chocolate. I can't read this in the dark.
We keep the studio very dark for Sam.
Double chocolate coffee oatmeal stout. I'm getting fucking old, man. My eyes, I can tell.
Well, we also keep the studio kind of dark, so it's
but 10 years ago, I would have been able to read that just fine.
Is it now? You've also been a lot of chocolate beers lately too. You had the chocolate milkshake.
I like the dark beers. I
know you like dark, but every single one of them has had chocolate in them. I think.
No, sometimes peanut butter.
Or both.
Yeah.
I do like the peanut butter stouts. Those are really good.
Yep.
So
peanut butter whiskey is even better.
Sam missed our last episode, and you and I kind of dug into the fucking crazy ass Facebook group.
Lucky
that
for
popped
me,
up.
It's still going on, so I still get to talk about it.
It's still going on, but it's died down a bit, has it not?
It did. It did for all weekend long. It got quieter. But yesterday was a school board meeting, and it got them all riled up again. So it's been active today, and yesterday there were a lot of good luck. But it's mostly patting each other on the back today. There's been some melodramatic posts, but
now did they show up in droves to this school board meeting in hundreds or?
So yes, they showed up. There were quite a few of them. 65 total speakers. We had at least 4 on our side signed up, but I think most people were like, why are we going to waste our time on the school board when the school board can't fucking do anything? It's a fucking federal mandate. But no, they all went and demanded that the school board, they were crying.
Lots of crying.
Lots of crying.
Lots of crying, legit tears.
But they were demanding that the school board not comply with the federal mandate. And it entertains me because these people, and the school board's cheering them on, and I don't guess the school board realizes that these people want them to go to jail so that the little fucking snot-nosed Timmy doesn't have to wear a mask at school. Like, and they want their school board representatives to give up their freedom just so their kid doesn't have to wear a mask.
You had a great analogy, or you made a great post on Facebook talking about these are the people who are always saying, "Well, just comply."
Yeah. You know, for years, these are the same motherfuckers that were screaming, "Just comply," every time a unarmed black man got shot. And they wasted hours of their life last night. That was like a 4-hour long meeting.
It went from 5 to 11, according to the news reports, because they had so many speakers, and they even had it could have been longer, but they ended up reducing the amount of speak time from 5 to 3 minutes.
Yes.
Did you see that bitch who got salty? Like, she's like, I contacted one of the board members, and I want to have the full 5 minutes, and they're like, no.
Well, so Virginia Babb did ask for she didn't know who she was, I guess. So she said she would ask the school board for the full 5 minutes for her. And Mike McMillan, actually, the one, like Sleepy Mike.
I figured that was him because he's kind of like a dick just in his voice.
Yeah,
alone.
but I actually agreed with him because, if you give one speaker 5 minutes, you have to give them all.
Correct.
Like, why this one speaker? And he's
not a very well-spoken man, by the way.
Not.
Like, he tried to justify, like, I mean, he had a good justification, honestly, but he couldn't words it very well.
This guy needs to just roll over and die.
He does, yes.
But that fucking group embraced the shit out of Mike Millen last night.
They did.
Like,
they called him his hero.
So the whole point of the meeting, anyways, was not for masks. That was just the public, forum section when the parents were
they forced to wear masks to enter that building?
No.
No,
it's
so
not.
all
a
these unmasked assholes
owned...
are just sitting in a corner.
Yes, no, they're
like,
sitting,
spitting on each other.
They're sitting throughout the meeting
I
room.
hope half of them are dead by next week.
But the meeting was just because the superintendent had announced his retirement, and so they're setting a course on to replace him, and that's what the fucking meeting was for, if I recall correctly. But not a single person there like voiced their opinion for that. That was all about the mask and shit. But immediately after that, group lit up like they were like calling Mike McMillan sleepy fucking Mike McMillan, who's fallen asleep at least on a few
He's an
occasions.
animal abuser too. We got to point that out too.
Is he?
Yes, he's been charged multiple times for animal abuse and neglect.
And they propped him up. Why did they prop him up? Because he managed to stay awake this time.
They're shitty fucking people. They love shitty people.
He has no filter. Really, and he says the most outlandish shit. Just
so
the
Trump thing is, why they like Trump, because he just says it like it is, and so they're embracing that still.
Yeah.
Fucking assholes.
I mean, he's a horrible person, but they literally spent hours and hours waiting for the opportunity to go up and tell the school board members face to face, don't comply. After years of screaming, just comply. And I said on my post, like, I'd call this irony, but it's not. It's privilege and entitlement. That's
right.
Exactly what this fucking
rules
shit
for thee,
is.
but not for me.
They live in such a bubble that they believe the shit they say. They don't have any perspective on, like, the world or anything that actually goes on or any sort of intelligent thoughts, science, civility towards your fellow neighbor. They live in such a fucking bubble. Like, they're just a bubble of fucking assholes.
I mean,
the bodily autonomy thing is another example of that, where they, where the pro-choice movement was talking about bodily autonomy, which
a better example of like them thinking like it's just for them is in their group. There was a post of a woman like being upset about with her kids being in isolation. Mm-hmm. And she was emailing, or she was like talking about her conversation with the principal she had. And it included, do they know that they can't eat peanut butter in there because she could go into anaphylactic shock? This woman, like, no child can eat peanut butter
to protect her
child. But it's 100%. Your kid can't have peanut butter to protect my child, but fuck you, my child won't put on a mask to protect yours.
That's exactly what it is.
That's it. It goes against my freedom. It's entitlement. It's fucking entitlement.
And that's why it was so cringy. I tried to watch the school board meeting when these people were speaking. I didn't make it very far because it was just it it was just enraging, this fucking entitlement from these fuckers.
It is, and we heard constitutional freedom many times.
God-given constitutional rights. Jesus Christ.
Segregation was said so many fucking times. It's fucking
Jesus
ISS.
Christ.
It's
If
ISS.
I could punch each and every one of these fucking women in the fucking face, I would.
Were there any
men
males?
too.
There was a guy up there.
Men.
Yeah.
But, I mean, it's mostly women, isn't it?
No, there were quite a
men,
few
okay.
dads up there, and they were some of the most outlandish speech.
So I can punch them in the face.
Yes, yeah.
Okay.
They made a point. I think a guy just went up there just own the libs, because he was just like, I've never worn a mask. I'm not getting that vaccine. Like, just
Good.
what?
I hope you die, you piece of shit.
Yeah, I'm like,
eat
thanks,
shit, die.
thanks for your
I'll
30-second
applaud.
input of notice me. Get the fuck off the stage or the podium.
It was so bad. Like, by the end of the school board meeting, though, half of the school board members were, like, not there. They just fucking left. Like, fuck that shit, including Mike McMillan.
Is that something they can do? Like, they can just fuck off?
I guess so, because they did.
Just completely justifying what I say about we have the worst fucking people living in this fucking area.
But it's like, what's the point in listening to that? It's the same bullshit that they've been going before the school board saying over and over again. Now, there were a couple of speakers. Caitlin Jones is a horrible person. She has been, like, harassing quite a few people, threatening them. The situation with her son, though, I actually agree. Her son should not be wearing a mask. She's like, he's getting tested this month for autism. It has a doctor note saying this kid has all the signs of autism. He just can't get tested for it yet. He also has Down syndrome and is developmentally delayed. And he keeps taking the mask off. To me, that's common fucking sense.
Yeah,
Make an exception for that kid.
Because, you and I spoke last week after we finished shitting on Sam, that, we agreed that there should be more, not the huge list they submitted, obviously, but at least some additional exceptions.
But this kid, like, these parents have reached out everywhere in the school district to try to get them to allow her kid in school without, because he can't get any of the services without the mask. Or without the mask, he's not able to sit in the classroom to get the services he needs, so they're just sending him home every day. And like, I think the school district is doing this to be stubborn fucking pricks to prove a point to the judge.
Because, you think so?
Oh yeah, it's common sense to me. Like, no judge is going to look at this particular situation and fine the school district for making this kid wear a mask, no matter what the mandate says. They're not, and they know that. Everybody knows that. They're being fucking sticklers to this point where this kid can't even go to school. Just as a fuck you to the judge.
Yeah, I think you're right, because there was another... Now, I don't know the validity of this, but one of them made a post in there where their child wasn't brought food because the person who normally brings in their food, because they're, in isolation rooms, wasn't there.
Suspension.
And so they told him he can go get it, but the lunch person told him that he had to have a mask to go up there while they're inside of a cafeteria with all the students with their masks off while they're eating anyways. So I think that was just to piss off that parent that your child didn't get fed. But they said the teacher, I guess, gave him some of his Subway sandwich, so he had some food. But I can't imagine that a school would purposely not feed the children in that room just because the person who... So I don't know if that's valid or not.
There had to be some kind of miscommunication. The principal knew nothing about this occurring until I think...
Or it's just a bullshit story.
Yeah, it's either a bullshit story or somewhere or another the school fucking failed in communication, and it fucking happens, There are cases like it happens all the time where just somewhere down the line somebody drops the ball and a message doesn't get spread, so her kid got left out. It really probably was an easy solution, but nothing was done.
So Al wants to play a clip that occurred at last night's meeting. Who is this now?
This is Naomi Elliott. She is my absolute favorite person who goes and speaks at the school board. I fucking love her so much. I just wish she was a character on a TV show and not a real life fucking human being.
I don't know if her shit's legit or if it's an act, because every video you posted...
It's legit.
Like, she's always crying.
That's her. So
she can't wear a mask because it would get so damp.
My introduction to this woman was her getting kicked out of a school board meeting several weeks. It was about a month ago for interrupting the meeting, and I got video of her out in the hallway arguing with the cops there. And she started crying because she didn't get to speak and say everything she wanted. She spoke. She didn't get to say everything she wanted because she just got to talk about masks, and she wanted to talk about carbohydrates and how they're poisoning our kids. And then the cop is standing there like, they do this like every week. You can come back and speak about carbohydrates next time. But she did. She did last week. She got up there
came back up to the
and she
carbohydrates.
cried during it, talking about how carbohydrates...
I think she lives in a constant state of crying because every time I've seen this woman, tears are flowing.
She has kids. Her house must be so fucking chaotic. I can't even imagine.
Every time I see any of these people, I'm just like, they are a terror to every single person in their life. Their coworkers, their kids, their husband. They make everyone around them fucking miserable.
She made me miserable just watching the video, so...
Yeah.
And I couldn't watch... I didn't even watch all of it. I was just like... I've lost IQ points.
If you don't make it to halfway through this audio, you're missing the best. Like, it gets better as it goes on.
So it's a 3 minute... It's a 3 minute clip, so if you guys don't want to hear it all, you can just fast forward 3 minutes, but we'll go ahead and play that for Al's pleasure now.
Please state your name and county of residence.
Naomi Elliott, Knox County, Tennessee. And what was he just saying about an abomination? Like maybe the abomination of desolation or something? I mean, that's kind of what y'all are doing by not acting, is making our children and our community desolate. Whatever happened to life, liberty, and the pursuit of happiness? You keep hearing how all these children are not only getting their rights infringed on with their education and equality, their constitutional rights, their civil rights, and their human rights, more importantly. And what are we doing about it? What are y'all doing? The pursuit of happiness. Well, dopamine is the happiness chemical. So no wonder there's an increase in anxiety and depression because of this board's activities and inactivities. You're all responsible. I thought the opposite of love was hate. No, I was wrong, because if you trust the science, the opposite of love is fear. And all this fear-mongering that happened last year and this year, it needs to stop. Us as human beings are meant to connect with each other. Are all of these policies an attack on children and families and human beings and the connections that we have that make us more humanitarian and more compassionate? And you think, oh, well, it's not hurting them, it's helping them, but you don't know what it's doing to their little brains because you're altering the hormones. And with all of these policies, we do not consent. And besides all these ADA violations, what about freedom of religion? We, the people, have had enough. It wasn't right for you to tell me that you think you know what my religious beliefs are better than I do. And I'll say it again. The last time I checked, it was a subjective matter, not objective. And are we going to keep following the experts who keep profiting off of all this madness? One of the UT faculty members, his father has been in the human genetical engineering research industry for decades, and we get this board of health all made up of mostly UT people. Where are the FBI? They're too busy coming after parents trying to protect their children. They're coming after the tyrants. Love is the best thing, but you know what? Let tyrants fear. Let tyrants fear. Look at some Ronald Reagan quotes. They're really good. I didn't realize what a great speaker he is, but this medical tyranny needs to end. It's a genocide. And the Nobel Prize winner last year for 2020, she's involved in genetical engineering too with CRISPR. And she says the future is designer babies and designer humans. So where's the diversity going to be? Oh, maybe we can help people with diseases and disabilities. Maybe that's a good motive, a better one than profit and position because of coercion, which is racketeering. Look it up. I'll be happy to send you any information I have on these discoveries. It's amazing what you can find when you dig a little deeper.
We're back, Al.
We're back.
Yeah.
That was hilarious. I enjoyed the hell out of it.
Oh, yeah.
What a dumb bitch.
So Facebook didn't have a very good week this week.
Facebook's had a really shitty week come Monday. First thing, Monday morning, was the New York Times. Was that it, or was it?
I don't know.
I
It
think
broke
it
at
was
9
New
a.m.
York
I know
Times.
whatever. Something broke at 9 a.m., which immediately
No, it was
caused,
Washington Post.
Washington Post. That's right.
So immediately
Okay.
caused like shares to just drop right.
No. There was she released this stuff on Monday.
Yeah.
I believe it was Tuesday. An article summarizing all of that. They're like, okay, we have this like whistleblower that's saying this, but there's things you're not seeing. And it was talking about Facebook is struggling to stay alive. And it explained that. It was when that second article was released. It was released at 9:00. Between 9 and 10:30, their stocks just fucking dropped.
Now, so Monday's when the outage occurred.
Yeah.
For approximately
Tuesday, I thought.
No, it was Monday.
It was Monday. It went down
Monday?
at approximately noon, 11 or 12, and it was down for approximately 6 hours. Now, it wasn't just Facebook. It was everything
it was
they used.
Instagram, it was Messenger, it was WhatsApp.
And what I learned is that what I didn't know is that a lot of countries, educational systems, like businesses, they rely on WhatsApp solely for their communication, and they were offline. So patients couldn't get information, doctors couldn't, communicate with each other. So it was a pretty big fucking problem, which tells me that Facebook's too fucking big. Like
It's been too fucking big.
way too fucking big that if they can literally cripple industries just by going offline.
Well, and from articles I was reading, it sounded like what happened was like an inside thing. It's nothing. It wasn't. At first, I thought it was like a DNS attack, but then I know some like techie people, and they're like, no, with everything happening with this, they're like if you typed in Facebook.com into a browser, it couldn't even find. Like it was not existent. It did not.
Which kind of seems on face value a DNS problem because it can't point to.
At Facebook headquarters, their badges wouldn't even work on the door.
Right.
That's right. There were certain places they couldn't even get into the buildings.
So it
So
was
they were digitally catching information on fire. It is the equivalent of burning your paper trail, is what was going on.
Yeah, so it was offline for a total of, I guess, was it 6 hours?
6 hours. Has Facebook addressed that and said what happened?
They did, and it's kind of like what you were
They
talking
said we
about.
certainly were not desrowing evidence. It was not that. Anything but that. We're sorry that it and you
As
weren't
they
able
turn
to
off
get your
their
memes. The
memes were
their
good.
digital shredder.
The memes on Twitter were fire because
Twitter was like, yay, but Twitter stocks dropped too because of all of this, just people's faith in social media, period, dropped.
But let's talk about the whistleblower. So the whistleblower testified regarding what we all fucking knew anyways.
Exactly. It's all shit we have been talking about on this
Right,
show,
and
too.
is that Facebook is prioritizing profits over the safety and mental health of its user and user base.
Yep.
Especially in young people and young girls, they know it's a problem.
To the point where they're seeking, they're actually seeking younger users, even knowing that there's this issue with younger girls, especially in their self-worth. They're seeking out how to bring more younger users.
Right, weren't they
onto
trying to create like
platforms.
this a separate Instagram thing for younger?
One thing I saw was Facebook. They were trying to figure out how to get more kids onto Facebook because, teenagers will tell you Facebook is for old people.
It's because all the kids are on TikTok, so
That's valid. But yeah, it also came out that they're aware of the harm from the misinformation, but it's better for their fucking bottom line to allow that shit to
Facebook
continue.
is essentially a monster that feeds on negative energy. Like
It literally is, and that's one
the
thing they
angrier
said.
and poorer you are, that's who they want
They
to target
will-
because that's who they.
and it goes
And-
right back to this city council shit we were just talking about
School
wouldn't
board.
be at the level it is without Facebook. Like
No,
Facebook has been the one pouring the coal on this fucking fire
and
for
this
years.
this is like, so they have a Telegram channel. Their Telegram channel only has like 160 people. The Facebook group has 4,001 after their fucking mass
they went
cleanup. No, after
Oh,
their
their mass cleanup where they. I survived. They didn't get me. Even though
I'm still there.
You literally click my name, the name of the podcast shows up, and like if you scroll
it's your
through,
actual account.
Yeah,
it's not even a hot.
it's not even an alt. And if you scroll through 20 seconds of posts, you're gonna find out that I'm shitting on the people that are in this group.
When you look at the member list and you find Dustin in there, right under his name it says apostates on the fringe.
Thanks for advertising. I hope they're listening.
I was kind of like hoping that someone clicked on it and was like, these guys talk about us in their fucking podcast. They're in this group somewhere.
Well,
well, how about you start a podcast?
So, they're sharing whenever they go on people's podcasts and their podcast episodes and their little Parents Against the Mandates group. And I was thinking I need to post our last episode in the Parents Against COVID group because they're in that group and they're watching and they'll hear us. And I want them to.
Because you tried to comment on one of this. So they put together this shitty Zoom thing. It was a 4-panel, what looked like a Zoom meeting. Because they couldn't find anyone else to fucking do this video for them, apparently. And it was boring as shit. It was like the worst podcast ever, where they're talking about the harm that these poor
3 teenage
with their
girls
evidence,
whining about their mask.
they're just bitching about their masks. They're probably just doing what their parents told them to do.
Yeah.
But whatever. It was dumb and stupid.
I don't know. These are high schoolers.
Yeah.
They're just...
Yeah, they'll grow up to be cunts.
Yeah.
They're only cuntettes right now.
But they disabled comments on their fucking video, which sucks because I was going to comment under our podcast, or YouTube.
No, I want them to listen to our last episode. I want them to hear me.
But but case in point, Facebook has been like the decentralized platform for these people. I swear,
Definitely
Facebook
got Trump elected.
Absolutely, but they want the angry people. I think they probably prioritize. I think I heard a thing.
They
they assign points to,
in the article. They promote articles that will anger people, like the ones that cause that angry reaction in people on both sides. They prioritize those articles and sharing them to keep people in that state.
Look, Facebook is run by a literal rage demon, and they have to keep it fed, or else it will destroy the world. Okay, they are saving all of us.
But they know the harm that it's causing. They know all this, but they're choosing profits, and they can. And this whistleblower get laid out steps that they can introduce that would still be a profitable company. Just not the fucking machine
that is
they are
capitalism.
Right now.
It's not enough to make money. You have to make all the money.
Yeah.
Right.
And you have to make more every year.
They would still be a very lucrative...
Capitalism
very
says
lucrative
you need to
business.
make more every year of your fucking life, every year of your existence. You need to make more and more and more until the Earth's a fucking cinder.
So when they're trying to keep people angry, they know the effect they're having on young kids, but they're still seeking out young kids to use their platforms. And then we look at how Facebook played a role in January 6th and a bunch of other shit that's happened over the last few years. They don't they know the
stats that
Facebook
Instagram
has the fucking nerve to block us when we talk shit.
Yes.
After everything they've fucking done. Next time I repeal something, I'm just going to post that fucking article and be like, shut the fuck up. Bring my page back. Look what you did to society. Fuck off.
But it's so I think so. Let's say that Facebook is their bastion of hate. But Instagram, they have fucking stats that show that fucking Instagram and the nature of Instagram contributes to 13% increase or 17% increase in suicide in young girls. They have those stats, and yet they're still pushing and wanting to, like you said, lower, get the younger folks in there.
Sacrifices
and not doing
for the Facebook demon. Okay, they're trying to keep it fed. They need to feed the demon.
But
okay,
it does have very real world consequences. We saw an article today. They came out as a gentleman. I don't have the article in front of me with his name, but he drove over 100 miles to 2 different families, killed his brother, who was a pharmacist. Because
I will drive 100 miles.
God damn it, Sam. But his brother's a pharmacist, and he killed him because he thought his brother was killing people with the COVID vaccine.
Yep. He said he's killing them with COVID shot. He's misleading people. And then killed the mother or mother-in-law or
I
something.
think so, and then one other woman. But apparently there was 100. Like he stole his Corvette, borrowed gas, and then after he's done, he went to some firefighters at a fire station. Was like, I just killed three people.
I mean, Facebook is worse than any fucking Lovecraftian monster I've read about. It drives people insane.
It really
feeds
does.
On hatred. It makes people kill themselves. This is basically a eldritch entity.
I guarantee his actions were by and large probably from Facebook groups, Facebook misinformation, and they have the power to cut that off because they know. What was it? It was 6 or 8 people. There was 12. It was a small number of people that controlled like 65% of the
12 people.
12 people, and if all it takes is like, hey, shut those fucking people down, but they don't because it's those posts that are getting the reactions. Those are the ones that are getting shared,
and it's
that
all
drives
conservative media too. If you look at the most shared on Facebook every single fucking day,
it's conservative.
It's all conservative media. Facebook helps Republicans. Period.
I mean, Twitter is not. Like, Twitter is contributing as well because...
Twitter's also full of leftists, where Facebook is for conservatives.
But some of those 12 people are releasing their information that's, like, the most widely spread on Twitter. So it's, like... all of the companies are contributing to it.
Yeah, I mean, even YouTube, who finally decided to pull the pin on vaccine misinformation and started banning people that they had the power to fucking do the entire time. And now we're... towards the end of 2021, we've had vaccines all year, and now they're finally starting to do that when they had the power the whole time. So it's not just Facebook, but Facebook is, I think, the largest of the three in terms of what information gets put out and what market share of misinformation is put out.
You can look at Mark Zuckerberg and tell that he sold his soul to this demon.
He did, yeah. He's
He's not a person.
He is the demon. He's just like wearing.
And he sold his soul to
skin.
this demon. I'm writing a whole story about this now. He sold his soul to this demon that he would feed all this rage, hatred, and suicides for wealth and fame. And look what it did to him. Look at his plastic face. That's what that. That's what that demon has done.
Yeah.
Whenever I see him testify, in fact, every time I see him, but I always circle back to when he was testifying and how fucking robotic that motherfucker
David
looked.
Fincher, I know you're listening. I want a sequel to the Facebook movie. There's been a lot that's happened, and I just need another one.
But so unfortunately, this guy isn't the only one. All these parental groups across the United States are apparently having groups like this and going after teachers, board members, staff, so much so that the Department of Justice, Merrick Garland, has directed the FBI to start investigating, starting action plans.
Good thing I trust the FBI.
Right.
Which
is pissing the conservatives right the fuck off, by the way, that Merrick Garland is weaponizing.
They've been against the FBI ever since Trump because they were the ones going after Trump.
Immediately after that came out, I first saw it actually in the anti-mask groups when I was reading over there. And of course, like as soon as somebody posts about it, I would like turn notifications on. I want to see what people are saying about this. And these motherfuckers are putting threats in the comment sections. Like,
the
are you
irony.
fucking like one of them?
FBI is just sitting there reading them because
right. I mean, straight up, like we need to start tying rope into trees and hanging these people. Like no
Are they
shit.
talking about the FBI?
Yeah, the FBI.
They
school
want to
board.
hang the FBI. Is what they say.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's a good group to pick a fight with.
Some of these comments, I may have passed them on to some people and pretty much told them, y'all do what you got to do. I don't talk to cops. Like, I may have passed on addresses and everything else as well. But, like, do what you got to do. Just disseminating information. I don't care whose fucking hands it goes into.
But so Facebook came out and they issued a statement regarding this whistleblower. And they did something that you kind of really only see in criminal defense, and in which they went after the individual rather than the claims. So they attacked her credibility and not addressing the claims she brought up. They said that she didn't have a lot of tenure or a lot of access. That's something that criminal defense attorneys do. Like, well, this person's a drug user. They're not credible. But they didn't address the claims that she brought up.
Didn't she turn in documents or submit documents to them? Like, aren't there actually documents to support
you would have to
her
have
claims?
something to testify before Congress or whatever she did. So.
Like, you can't... if you
You can't just
have-
raise your hand and be like, I worked for Facebook, I have some shit to say.
If you
know, without
have the
something.
proof there in front of you, you can't exactly say she didn't have like access to that shit. She fucking has it.
But
I'm
I
glad
thought-
someone at Facebook had a fucking soul, for fuck's sake.
But I found it very telling. I found it very telling in how they addressed the whistleblower in attacking her credibility versus showing information or facts that what she said was not accurate.
What amazes me about this, though, is that, conservatives fucking hate Facebook and Zuckerberg because he silences them. He stifles their free speech.
You guys
all
got
the
zucked so
time.
hard too, so
Yeah. But they're the ones spreading this like misinformation about the whistleblower and conspiracy theories. They're still like,
Yeah.
even though like, hey, this is kind of good for you. You guys hate Facebook. Like, you want Facebook taken down. You say it all the time. So when somebody comes and reveals something that may like rein in Facebook's like fucking monstrosity that they've built,
right.
you're going to discredit the person that's doing it.
Well, we talked about it before when we first opened the show about that they're not the irony, but they're privileged. So it's what suits them at the moment. I think is what this is. I think this.
How does this
That's
suit them, though?
Republican strategy anyways. That's
Yeah.
what their propaganda does. Forget what we said last week. We're saying this right now. And their people are, like I said, they're not fucking people. People have think and have opinions. These people are just parrot what they heard. They just are on the now. The conservative puppets are all about what is happening right now. What are my orders at the moment?
Someone had, case in point, Representative Jim Jordan, I think he's Ohio, he tweeted out, "Stop firing doctors and nurses." Meanwhile, someone said, "Is this you?" referencing a tweet from September, 2 months prior, last month, just last month only, saying "Fire Fauci." Like, you're right.
Not
Forget
that
what I said.
doctor, yeah.
Yeah, not. And he's like, wait, no, not like that.
Yeah.
But it's you're right. It's forget what I said last week. This is where I'm at now.
The conservative population are basically soldiers whose entire purpose is to prop up their fascist doctrine. Their entire, like, all those people at the meeting, who are they really serving with that shit?
So,
Not themselves.
do you know who's coming real hard against the DOJ and the FBI investigating these threats towards staff and things like that? Sean Hannity and your future president Tucker Carlson.
Yeah.
Tucker Carlson went on a 10-minute rant regarding this opening his show.
Of course he did. Yeah, that was posted in the Anti-Max.
Did they really?
Yeah.
Oh, I
That
came
was the
across.
first Tucker Carlson link I've seen, though. I'm impressed.
Just wait, there'll be more.
They've already contacted him to try to get him to.
They said they were sending images to Turning Point.
Look,
and-
they're trying.
Oh, today they listed like fucking Ben Shapiro, like they listed Candace Owen, everybody that they've contacted. None of them. Nobody will fucking talk about it
Because there's mass mandates all over the fucking United States. Why pick up one and that suddenly just sprung up in Knox County?
Because they are so, like I said, they are so fucking insulated. They think they're the fucking world.
Well, you know what? They might, though, because typically mass mandates are in blue states. It's rare to see a mass mandate in a school.
They're
in a
trying
red state.
really hard to keep those death numbers up. Like our built-in audience here was saying that when you see the numbers drop down, like, oh, the numbers are down, that really just means they had a die-off. Like when you're like, oh, they have a bunch of beds that opened up. I'm sure they all got better and went home.
Well, the numbers will
Some did,
for a
but-
little bit start to go down as like the summer activities, the summer gatherings, have slowed down.
No, well,
But then in November and Christmas again.
yeah,
like, those
remember
were huge.
last year the biggest hike was right after Thanksgiving, where these conservative dipshits went to Thanksgiving and then church right after. Like, oh, I caught it from my grandma, now I'm going to give it to my whole church. Like, it's round 2 of that. And then they're so fucking morons, they're going to do it again for Christmas. Like, you have no idea. Like, the depths, like, Einstein was right. The depths of human stupidity are fucking endless.
the only thing that I think Facebook provides value for me right now is that that's the main source of screenshots for Herman Cain Awards, which is getting a lot of attention lately. Like, Herman Cain Awards is popping up in a lot of news stories, and other podcasts to pick it up because it's still delicious material, first and foremost, but it's like I said, the sheer number of content, and it provides, like, for us, it's, we see the stupidity of these people every day finally have the consequences of their fucking actions and stupidity brought upon themselves. And it's
Yeah, there was someone that, like, someone was like, someone more liberal-minded, like, oh, we shouldn't make fun of these people. I'm like, oh no, I'm a leftist. You're thinking of liberals. I laugh when my enemies kill themselves.
Shout out to Craig.
oh
If only it was all that easy.
but
the importance of gun safety.
It's a very popular subreddit right now, because it really is just like Reddit tends to be more left leaning, anyways, from what I see, and so they get a lot of that sub gets a lot of attention because of you're a fucking idiot. You brought this upon yourself. We've been screaming at you all to fucking wear masks, get vaccinated, like, to do all the right things, and when you fucking don't,
it's completely preventable. Like, just get your fucking shot, for fuck's sake.
Yeah.
They're dying completely 100% preventable deaths. That's the thing.
And then I saw someone again. Now TikTok is another big spreader of misinformation as well. And there was a nurse who was bitching about how, I was there at the beginning of COVID. I treated all these people, and now they're suspending me. And next week I'm gonna be gone because I refuse to get the shot because of my freedom. Like,
she probably chills out by my pool. That's the exact shit that I heard by some dumb bitches out there.
Listen, you work in the medical field. Like,
I know these people.
96% of doctors and physicians have been vaccinated, and it's the nurses that they're not in the same numbers. And I don't get it, because this is the field that you were in.
Nurses don't learn.
Right. I mean, and don't get me wrong,
they memorize shit. Like, to be a nurse, you have to have a good memory.
They serve a
you don't
purpose.
need to know. You don't need to know how germs work. You just need to know what bone connects to the what bone.
Yeah. Right. And they do serve a purpose. I don't want to shit on nurses, but the ones that
I know a lot of dumb shit nurses. I know some good nurses.
Right.
Yeah, there are
my
a lot
mom's
of
a
dumb
nurse.
shit
But they're not accepting
nurses,
the science
here.
of their field that tells them this is a safe and effective
But they
vaccine.
feel, like I was saying, they feel like because they stand next to a doctor every day, they have some of that clout that he does.
Well, I mean, some of them don't even need to do that. We talked about Nurse Debbie, I think, in the past, who she has her own clinic and just has a supervising doctor who doesn't even have to be there with her. He just has to, like, go through her fucking prescriptions from time to time, and pretty much does audits on what she's prescribing. So and that's why I'm glad, like, Knox County did the treating physician of conditions rather than allowing nurses, which the anti-maskers were immediately like, but we know a lot of nurses who, well, that's exactly why they did that, because there are way too many fucking nurses who will write exemptions for fucking nothing.
Isn't this kind of the pitfall of democracy? I mean, when you have democracy, everyone's got a voice, but what if most of the people's voice is just stupid as fuck?
I mean,
what if
I live in Tennessee, Sam? That's kind of what I see
exactly.
every day.
That is the here. What if most people around you are just fucking idiots, intellectually challenged? I'm sorry. What if they're so intellectually challenged?
I don't think after 9 fucking idiots you can just revert it automatically to intellectually challenged.
Oh,
Sam.
sorry.
Just go back
I'm
to
sorry
fucking...
for calling everyone dumb bitches and cunts. I hope I don't. I hope this isn't the episode that gets me canceled. I haven't talked about Oprah, so.
Well, I won't edit you out, Sam. You'll be fine. I won't zuck you.
so let's talk about what happened in Idaho.
This is such a shit show.
It really
it's
is.
my favorite when the cat's away, the mice will play story.
It's fucking wild, though. This should never, this shit shouldn't fucking happen at all. It shouldn't. it's like, I don't know. I was reading this, like, how the fuck does a situation like this come up? So, the Idaho governor this week had to go down to Texas for official business. While he was away, the lieutenant governor stepped up and decided to pass a bunch of, like, executive orders, were they?
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
So one of them was a ban on any kind of mask mandates, I believe. She tried to call in the fucking National Guard.
Did. For the southern border, when it's like thousands of miles, 2,000 miles away from their state, they want to call in the National Guard.
Yeah, when she tried to call them in, they're like, this is actually not how things work.
That was my favorite part of the story. They're like, no, that's not how any of this works. Yeah, I think also a ban on requiring vaccine passports and vaccine mandates, like, just started mentioning all these executive orders, fucking just pissing off Little, who's the governor, Brad Little.
And she's done this before. This isn't the first time it's happened, but I think last time it was just one thing that was done. And he went home, or he got home, he, like, reversed it all, and things
He's
were
already
fine.
said he will. He's already said that
But
Jesus.
yeah,
He's just like, Jesus, fuck, when I get back, I'm doing all of this. Jesus Christ.
She went, she did so much this time. It wasn't just one little thing. It was like, let me try to do everything. Get everything I want done. And, I mean, and she's an elected official. It's not like she was hired.
Right, so he can't just go back and, like, you know what, this is not what you, like, because, like, I made this analogy before we started recording. Like, if I'm a manager of a business and I go on vacation and my assistant just starts changing all the rules that I had in place and started putting up things that I did that blatantly went against what I had decided, this person would not be working for me very much longer. But from what I believe, this McGeechan is her name. I think she's primarying him for the governorship.
Yeah, she's trying to take his seat, and she has some backing. Like, one of the people out there with the Bundys is one of the people advocating for her and pushing her.
That's right. She does have support of some, like, far right militia members.
Yeah. I mean, I think she had the Oath Keepers do security at an event for her at one point in time. She evaded questions about that, but I think it was proven that she absolutely uses the Oath Keepers, who were involved in, an insurrection earlier this year.
It's very possible that because she's more Trumpian than Brad Little, the current Republican governor, so it's very possible that if it's still a Trump-fueled Republicans in that state, that she will win the governorship. I'm not sure if that's I think that's in 20. He may be up for running in 2022. I'm not sure.
I'm trying to find the year here that she ran. 2018. Oh, no. 2018 is when she refused to answer questions about the 3%ers doing security. So it's not the Oath Keepers. It's the 3%ers.
And that was the 3% that stood up against whatever. We talked about that before, the 3%ers.
They were involved in the insurrection as well as the Oath Keepers. It's like, I don't know which one of those groups is worse.
But the lunacy of this person just start issuing executive orders while, so their constitution does allow, her to do that. She's the acting governor when the official governor is out of state. But I guess I imagine that's just to draw up support for her run. Because she would have had to known that, he would rescind every order.
She did. I mean, it's 100% a political move to get back in.
Just imagine that fucking Brad Little's just sitting there rolling his fucking eyes like, God damn, I gotta do this shit again.
What's her name? McGeechan?
McGeechan, yeah. Her name is Janice McGeechan.
She was sworn in January 2019, so the next election would be 2022?
To be sworn in 2023. Okay, that makes sense. Sense.
So we're... Next year?
Yeah, so she's this is just her kicking off her campaign by giving the people of Idaho or her supporters what they want and showing that she will do those things if elected.
Yeah,
crazy bitches. Trying to get the crazy bitches on board.
Is Idaho a red state or?
Oh yeah,
yeah.
Oh yeah. I mean, they already have a Republican governor, and it's a very red state.
So the vaccine. Anti-vaxxers now they don't want the vaccine for anything. Like it's the flu vaccine,
Right.
The new malaria vaccine that just came out. That's another story.
Did I read somewhere that?
But they don't want any vaccine. Like the anti-vaxxer thing that started with dumb bitches in California not wanting to give it to their children now is just a normal thing that people adhere to.
Well, yeah, and I just read an article. It may have been what you were talking about, or you started to talk about a minute ago, where it's saying like there's like if this continues, things like polio will come back because parents aren't fucking vaccinating against these
I saw a
things.
stat that 22%, I think, of Americans are anti-vax now, according to
How much?
The 22%.
Probably higher in Tennessee.
Probably, yeah.
Definitely higher, especially now because of COVID or the COVID vaccine.
Yeah,
Absolutely.
it used to be like a liberal, more left thing of I don't want to put those toxins in my body. But now it's like I don't trust the government that I vote for because I love the government.
There's one vaccine ingredient. I was actually looking over at Telegram a few minutes ago, and I saw them talking about. They posted a video of like an autopsy with thrombosis, which is supposed to be an ingredient of vaccines, which is one I remember with all the anti-vax stuff like 10 years ago, more when my kid. That was one of the chemicals or whatever in the vaccine that they would harp on. So they're saying that it's in the COVID vaccine, but they're also linking it to all the other vaccines as well.
Yeah, exactly. They want any
it's-
vaccine.
Yeah, so it's not just so they're using everybody's fear of the COVID vaccine to get them away from all the other vaccines as well.
Oh, so they moved on from the fetal cell tissue.
That's an issue too.
Okay.
The fetal cells, of course.
That's the one I see the most. Is what they're like. This has the aborted fetal.
Yeah, but they
cell
have to
tissue.
have multiple ones because when one gets debunked and they don't know how to handle that, they need something else to throw out.
Right, because their primary argument was it's
Their
not
primary
FDA-approved.
argument to its core is I'm a dipshit and Russia wants me to die.
Right, because so like say you start out with the fetal cells, then you get onto thrombosis, and then you get into thrombosis may be the effect of the brain. I don't know, but there's formaldehyde.
Formaldehyde's a pretty common thing.
And there's another I don't know, another chemical that's in vaccines. But like once you get through all these chemicals and debunk each one, they're just going to go right back to the fetal cells. That's how it is. When you argue with these people, you can debunk something that they're talking about and get them to move past that. But once you get like 3 steps down the line and you debunk what they're talking about, then they bring it all back to the beginning and make you start all over.
It reminds me of it's a pretty viral post. I'm sure we've all seen it. The guy who breaks down the chemical composition of an apple. And says,
Right.
These are the ingredients of a vaccine. Would you take this? And they're like, no, it's fucking, they're like, that was an apple. You're a fucking idiot. You see big science words that you know nothing about, and you just don't want that in your body. You've been eating fucking apples your whole life.
Right.
So they know nothing.
Hey, they eat fast food, not fucking apples. They don't even want to know what words are in that.
No, now they're pissed at McDonald's because McDonald's is hosting like some fucking
They
COVID
are.
drive.
Here in Knoxville,
So they're swearing off fucking McDonald's now because McDonald's is like, you get a free Big Mac or something when you get your
They
second.
can go to Cookout now, the Christian fast food restaurant.
Yeah.
They'll stick to
I like
Cookout,
Man,
Cookout and Chick-fil-A.
Their fucking cheesy bites are fucking amazing.
I'm not gonna lie. I'd love me some Cookout.
I am 1 week away from a year without fast food. So,
Are you?
Yeah.
That's impressive.
I do like some Cookout. I still stay away from
Man,
Chick-fil-A. But
those $5 trays where you get all that fucking food, it's hard.
yeah.
I cook
And
chicken
then-
at home
I don't
in my
get
oven.
I don't get any Jesus shit when I order to go, like because I don't get
It's
any
on
drinks.
your cup. Oh, if you don't
Yeah,
get
I
the
don't get a cup.
Just
It's
cook your
on-
chicken at
is
home
it
and
not
pour a
on
bunch of
the,
bad shit on it.
Fry. Well, like you don't get those if you get the tray.
Right, I didn't get a
I
fried
get the
dinner.
cheesy bites, which once again, fucking amazing. But on their little package for that, it has that John 3:16.
When I
as well.
first ate inside their restaurant, when I first dined in,
So
I
they
haven't
must be
dined in-
wrestler fans. I get
It's
it. Okay.
Right. It was on their silverware containers. Like, oh, they're fucking Jesus-y, but they do have good food. But they're
I did get my birthday cake from Ham and Goodies, and they're a good Christian restaurant, but I still eat there because they give free coffee.
so I don't mind that Cookout's like a Christian restaurant because as far as I know,
They're not Chick-fil-A.
They're not
that's
Chick-fil-A
giving
and
their money.
donating the money they give to fucking bigot.
Well, and
groups.
I've never, like, other than that cup, I've never had any kind of issue there. Like, there's
I've never
never
looked
any
into
kind
them.
of, like, bless you or anything like that.
I think the music they play like, inside as
that's
well
true.
is
Yeah.
pretty juicy. But
At-
again, I
at
don't dine in.
Cookout?
Yeah, at Cookout.
Yeah, I've never
The one
I've
on the
never
strip,
been
It's full
inside.
of Jesus music.
Oh, I went in once. I wasn't
Just,
listening.
It's just whole Creed albums you don't want.
Jesus Freak on there, some DC Talk, Newsboys. Fucking, I grew up on fucking Newsboys and DC Talk. My fucking parents
God.
gave us those fucking albums. Oh, it was,
Your parents hated them?
No, they gave us those
Oh, they
albums.
gave you those
Yeah,
albums,
because
okay.
that
Oh,
was
wow.
because that's the good Christian music that the kids are listening to these days.
Yeah,
It was it was
Lifehouse.
popular. Fucking DC Talk was popular, like even in high school in Indiana, and of course the church camp that we got sent to.
I was listening to Korn.
Oh, really? I
Not
didn't-
DC Talk.
No, I was not. It was either country or fucking whatever Christian bullshit they gave us. So
Like Korn, I listened to a lot of like older shit, like Doors and Pink Floyd.
since we're on a religious kick, yeah, news story again. Let's shit on some religion.
Okay,
you guys.
let's do it.
A couple of stories came out. The first one was France's Catholic Church, a report for covering a span of 70 years, an estimated 330,000 children were victims of sex abuse within France's Catholic Church. The figures includes abuses committed by some 3,000 priests and other people involved in the church. Now, if you do the math on that, boys and girls, that's over 100 kids per priest.
They're busy.
They are
I
very.
mean-
That's a lot of piddling. Jesus fuck. I mean, that's we've
The
known about the
Catholic Church
atrocities.
has always been the Catholic Church is a pedophile organization. First, a religious organization. Second, everyone needs to understand that.
So think about this. If you have these priests serving 10 or more years, they piddle 10 kids a year. That's 10 years. That's
They can
100
retire in 10
kids.
years. Yeah, you're right. Just fucking. But it was
They have to hit a quota, or the Pope gets mad and he sends them an angry letter.
So it was a pretty big report. It was a 2,500-page document. It was issued, and France, the Catholic Church in France, like in other countries, seeks to face up to shameful secrets that were long covered up. And they as we know, the Catholic Church covers their shit up pretty fucking well up until now, obviously. But let's see what repercussions they don't face from
None.
all of this. None.
Catholic Church will go on, even though, like, God, we got to be approaching 1 million kids that.
I mean,
I mean,
every
this is
time
just
I meet a
France.
Catholic,
This is
I
just
either
France.
go, you either
know.
have been molested or you are
Well-
molested. And you know, the way the circle of abuse works, they have to molest them when they're young so that they can grow up to become priests so they can think it's normal to molest kids. Like, that's the way that cycle works. And that's the way the church works. The way the Catholic Church is set up is to molest young people so that they think it's okay to molest other young people when they grow up. That is the whole thing that pedophiles do, and that's the whole existence of the Catholic Church is built around fucking children. And if you ever see a Catholic, just know that they're a pedophile.
Fuck the motherfucker. Fuck the motherfucker.
And unfortunately, the nuns they saw what the priests were doing and they wanted in on the action, Sam.
Yeah, I know, they get bored, you know.
These nuns get bored because
They're done whipping
the life
themselves
of
for
celibacy,
Jesus.
of course. You know
Jesus said celibacy unless they're under a certain age, then you can fuck all away.
So I'm just
Jesus obviously said that.
I'm just going to read the headline because it kind of tells you all you fucking need to know. And it was on Yahoo News, but it's from the Daily Beast. Nuns raped girls with crucifixes as female pedophilia was covered up by the church. I mean, this is shit that they think Satanists were fucking doing.
Yeah.
I mean, that's fucking disgusting.
Well,
I mean, nothing's more gross than what the Catholic Church actually does.
What role did the Catholic Church play in the satanic panic and all that shit?
Was that rhetorical?
I mean, it's kind of rhetorical. I'm sure they played a big hand in it. And we look at what conservatives do, they project. You know, like, you can almost count when they're saying that the left is doing something, they're doing it. The left, transgenders just want to get into the bathroom to molest children.
Oh, right.
But yet we find conservative fucking lawmakers going into bathrooms molesting children.
Let me let's read. This is how fucking gross this is. So again, this is from the Daily Beast. So we'll link all the articles in the show notes. Marie, of course not her real name, was certainly not alone. Dozens of other victims of priests, nuns, and Catholic school personnel in France formed the basis of a 2,500-page report released Tuesday by a special commission led by Jean-Marc Sauvé. While 80% of the victims were young boys between the ages of 10 and 13. 10 and fucking 13, y'all. Many young girls were abused as well, and not only by priests. Nuns used to rape little girls or forced boys... Sorry, the nuns used crucifixes to rape little girls or forced boys to have sex with them too. I mean, how fucking worse can it get? I mean, this is 70 years they got away with this shit. 70 fucking years. 330,000 between 10 and 13 of lives that are fucking permanently fucking scarred.
Yeah, and we're still in 2021 pushing abstinence-only education on our children.
Yeah.
Like I said, it's to set up their future. The whole purpose of the church is pedophilia. They molest young people so they grow up so they can do it themselves because they keep them in the church. That is my theory.
Abuse.
Yeah, that they keep
cycle
them.
of abuse.
They
It
need
keeps
to keep
fucking
up the
going.
cycle of abuse. They need to molest them when they're young so that they become a preacher themselves, and they're like, "Well, I did it. Time to do the same thing." Like that is. And that's been going on the entire time the Catholic Church has existed, and it will continue to go on. If you know a Catholic in your life, know that they're probably a pedophile. Every Catholic's a fucking pedophile. If they're not a fucking pedophile, they're okay with it.
Yeah,
if you are in a part of the
They
Catholic
know.
Church, you are okay with pedophilia. And if you act like you're not, then you can fucking hit them in the face.
You can't, at this point in time, you cannot be a fucking Catholic
And be unaware of what they're fucking doing.
and not realize what is going on within your church.
Every dollar of your donation goes to fucking not only paying for the organization, but paying for the cover-ups, paying for moving those people.
You're complicit.
I want to know, I almost want to be on a fly in the fucking wall at least one of these Catholic churches that when this report comes out, because they probably won't even adjust. They probably won't even say a fucking word about it. Like,
I bet
even
they don't.
Even in the U.S., they probably won't.
They ignore it. And they probably, if anything, they downplay it to the congregation.
They probably won't. I doubt they'll even say a fucking word
I mean,
about
it's
it.
unspoken that they're like, "Hey, congregation, we're all here to fuck kids, right? Right? It's the unspoken. We're like, hey, we're Catholics. We're all here because we love fucking children, right? Like, that's how I see Catholics. I see Catholic and I'm like, you love to fuck children.
You're not wrong.
I am not wrong.
No,
This is not hyperbole.
330,000 over 7 years is a fucking large number, and that's just from one fucking country.
Well, this has been known. What year did Sinead O'Connor
Yeah.
go on? That was
In the
in the
80s.
80s or 90s?
Was it the 90s?
I thought it was the 90s. But whenever
Because
she
America
did it-
also loves to fuck children.
But it was after that happened that my fucking parents sent me to a fucking Catholic school. Fortunately, nothing happened to me. But like, why? When there's not my kid couldn't do anything that would make me send them to a goddamn fucking Catholic school. Like, even though I escaped to, of course, I only went to one for like half a year. I wouldn't put my kid through that. I wouldn't chance it. How the fuck do people even?
They're a pure organization of just pure fucking evil, and they have the funds to cover it up and pay off whatever they need to pay off.
And then they tried it, like you said, they tried to do the satanic panic thing. They try to put all in the media they're fighting the devil. They have been the fucking devil. They are the fucking evil.
Yeah, I mean, fucking sexual abuse in children, like, that's permanently scarring for them.
Yeah.
Like I said, it's permanently scarring because that's the way they're trying to continue the cycle. I think that it's. It's a legitimate part of their plan to keep people Catholic.
I still think the majority of the 330,000 individuals are probably still Catholic.
I'm not joking. I think that part of the church's plan of molesting children is to ensure that their future generations of their pedophile ring continues to be a pedophiles.
God was just testing them or some bullshit, making them stronger. What do you think?
I think that they think that God wants them to fuck children. I think
Probably.
I think the one and only reason the church is a pedophile ring, a criminal organization, like that's their purpose in life. Their purpose in life is fucking kids. So if you know a Catholic, do something about it.
Get them out of your life first and foremost if they won't.
I feel like definitely the Catholic Church has some role in satanic panic, and part of what makes it, which I'm seeing some like stuff online, but the bigger thing is you think about satanics, they do a lot of like the Black Mass. Mass is a Catholic thing, right? It seems like it's directly countering the Catholic bullshit, because Catholicism has attacked Satanism,
Agreed. I mean, it's
they project all their bullshit on Satan.
that's all. It's always been projection. And we talked about it before. Again, hey, we could bitch about it on the show because nothing's gonna fucking happen to the organization. They're gonna continue to get fucking all the money from their supporters and continue to cover up and be a criminal organization.
I mean, is the Catholic Church at least one that is dwindling in size some?
Technically, I would think all are dwindling in
Right.
size at this point, but they're not going away.
But the smaller they get, like a dying animal, they get more dangerous, and that's what you see.
Yeah.
And all this religious shit.
That's everything going on. Like
the death throes of a dying form
they
of thought.
have 1.345 billion members.
Still a fucking lot.
Yep. Since 2019. There are still 5,364 priests.
Ooh.
Oh, I'm sorry, bishops. 414,000 priests.
It's a lot of people that are fucking kids.
Yep. It's gross.
All right, well, before we wrap up the fucking another shit show of a week, now that Sam's back, we have our regularly scheduled ACAB of the week.
You didn't do it last week?
No.
We didn't do it last week. It was just last week was a special. I don't know if I'm part of the record.
Special No Sam episode.
It was a special No Sam episode, so we really wanted to just focus on this shit show group that had popped up and became a viral kind of thing in Knoxville. So we didn't do an ACAB, but now that you're back, here's our ACAB of the week.
This is ACAB of the week.
So this week, this one comes out of Minneapolis. This is something that actually happened last year during the George Floyd protests in Minneapolis, but we're just now finding out about it because what had happened was the person in question here, Jaleel Stallings, he's 29 years old, he was acquitted of 8 counts, including second-degree attempted murder, first-degree assault, second-degree assault, and second-degree riot following the May 30 incident. Now, what we're finding out is he was acquitted of those charges because of the facts of the incident and the video that was released, the body cam video. And let me describe what I fucking saw in this video. And again, of course, I'll link the article and you can see the video yourselves. During this time at night, cops were driving around in an unmarked van with the side sliding open. And they were firing 40 millimeter marking rounds, commonly known as rubber bullets. These things sound like regular guns, and they're firing at people. And I saw them shoot at just someone who was just walking by, and they're yelling, "Go home." So there's indiscriminately firing at people with no reason. As we saw this during the protests. We saw a lot of police brutality against the either protesters or whatnot. But this was just people were walking around. Well, so Jaleel he had a permit to carry the firearm in public, and did so because of the threat of white supremacists in the area. And so when he heard shots, open fire towards him, he returned fire. And all these cops just poured out of this van towards him. And as soon as he realized that those were officers, he surrendered. But the cops beat the shit out of him.
So, and here's the thing. There's watching the video, these people had no way of knowing that it was cops doing it, because you can tell they're kind of in a parking lot behind a building at a truck, and they start running towards the street because it shows security footage and the body cam. Right. So I can just imagine them hearing this gun being fired as it's going down the street and it's getting closer. sounds like a fucking drive-by.
Right.
So they run out to see where these shots are coming from.
Well,
they
also
realize it's coming closer, so they start running to get back behind a vehicle so that they may not be hit. And one guy kind of lags behind. He can't get behind there as quickly, so he pulls his gun out because, fuck you, if you're shooting at me, I'm going to shoot back.
Well, that's it. And to your point, and what I said before, they did so without warning. They were shooting without warning. So it's not like police, they're not announcing themselves as an unmarked van. And so, yeah, to them, they're just being shot at, and with the threat of white supremacists, because we know these white supremacists were in the area,
Right?
Especially during this time. And so, yeah, he returned fire. His bullets actually hit the van. Like I heard it and saw it ricochet. But they pulled out, but when they got to him, he had already surrendered.
He's on the ground, hands behind. I think his hands are behind his head. He's not resisting in any way. He's down. His hands are on the ground. They walk up and start kicking him.
They start kicking him, kicking and punching him. When they finally got him in a sitting position, his face is all blooded the fuck up. Now that he's acquitted, I'm hoping we get a lawsuit out of this. I really do. But this is just such a shit show of the police in the area to be indiscriminately firing at people and then to charge him with everything they charge him with. How do you... Okay, so I can see that if they thought that he was a police officer, they can charge him with second degree attempted murder. But first degree assault, second degree assault, and second degree riot, like, he was laying on the ground when they got to him.
Right.
So I don't know where they pull up these bullshit charges because cops fucking lie. That's why.
As soon as he realized it was cops, he laid down on the ground. And he realized quickly. They immediately jumped out of the van with the doors open and ran towards him, and he laid down on the ground. But how the fuck, especially, I was at these protests last year. I know the concern that all of us across the country had for white supremacists coming. We had Kyle fucking Rittenhouse shooting people.
Yeah.
Every fucking protest, no matter how fucking small that I went to last summer or even this year, going to a protest is not like it was when I first started protesting 10 years ago. Now we have serious threats. We can be hit by cars. We can be shot at. We know people would happily kill us.
Yeah.
So when you think about us having this fear of white nationalists coming into the crowd and shooting us, or driving by and shooting at crowds, and you have an unmarked white fucking van with the door open driving down the road shooting at people, and nobody knows what kind of bullets they are. They just hear the gunshots. How can you not blame somebody for firing back when you don't know that's cops? You don't know that's rubber bullets. You don't know what the fuck is happening, except a gun is being fired in your direction.
And good for his attorney, Stallings' attorney, because... And a lot of times, what's really fucking unfortunate in our justice system is they get these fuckers to plea out. To avoid a costly trial. And that's how they're successful in getting a lot of people who are otherwise otherwise innocent of charges to plea out to avoid these things. So they offered him a plea deal it was a nearly 13-year prison term. But he took the case to trial, and he was acquitted. Something else I want to talk about that night. This is something else that occurred that night, separate from this incident. Because apparently they went on a joyride, these fuckers. And footage from one of the officers, Officer Stetson's body camera, shows him repeatedly firing marking rounds at protesters before yelling, "Gotcha!" while Officer Dobble laughs and the two fist bump. So these people are out just hunting protesters and laughing their asses off for it and getting fucking away with it. As of right now, no charges have been filed against any of the officers. No disciplinary action. I say that as of right now because now video's out. That's when outrage comes, hopefully. And now that he's been acquitted from a criminal charge, I hope it becomes a civil charge now for not only for the beating that he fucking took while he was surrendered.
Right.
Because if you see the image of him when he
could definitely sue for police brutality. They had absolutely no fucking reason to go up kicking him in the face.
Right. And
in
after
the fucking face.
Right. And
When-
after just firing at him.
Yes.
For just being next to his truck. They were just firing because they could get away with it.
Yeah.
These fucking cops in
And they
one of the
would
most
have.
volatile cities at the time.
Had he not fired back at the unmarked vehicle, firing rounds out of it, then they would have gotten away with it.
Oh, yeah.
He gave up because he was like, "Oh, it's state-sanctioned violence. So much different. I'll give up." I'm sure they
I
won't
think he
beat me
gave up
senseless.
because he was a black man and he knew he was.
And the sheer
like,
number of guns pointed towards him. Oh, yeah. Yeah, once he realized.
Yeah, I'm pretty sure he was black.
Yeah, he was.
Yeah.
Yeah.
At least, I mean, he's light skinned. But it's. Yeah, if he didn't lay down on the ground right there, he got
Dead.
his ass fucking beat, but he
Guaranteed.
would have been dead
Oh,
otherwise.
100%. They wouldn't have given the chance. We've seen where they don't give people the chance to drop weapons. They see a weapon, they fire immediately.
Mm-hmm.
But I think he'd already discarded the weapon. It was laying on the ground when he saw them
he's-
approach.
He was on the ground while they were several feet away from him.
But you all got to see.
how
You all
quickly.
really have to see this video and how much fun these fucking officers appear to be having. Just
That's why they
shooting
joined
at
the
people.
job.
Oh yeah,
That
They want
is-
to have fun.
I was sitting there just watching. I was like, what a bunch of fucking dickheads. Just shooting these. I mean, multiple rounds. These things can cause permanent damage. People have lost eyesight. They've lost it. These marking rounds they're less than lethal, but they can cause a lot of fucking damage.
They can.
And permanent long-lasting damage. So fuck those guys. I'm glad the lawyer got that evidence released so that we all can see the shit that happened. So maybe something could be done, but probably fucking not. It's right now it is an internal affair, so maybe we'll see. All right, guys, well, that's going to wrap us up for episode 35 of Apostates on the Fringe. Thank you guys again for joining us this week. As always, check us out on social media. Please continue to share out the show everywhere you can. Leave us a 5-star review. If you'd like links to the articles or to contact the show, visit us at apostatepod.com, and we'll see you all next week.
Wear your goddamn fucking mask.
And get fucking vaccinated. Jesus fuck.
Every Catholic is a pedophile.
That's
Can
true.
confirm.
Thank you all very much.
Apostates on the Fringe. Apostates on the Fringe.
The views and opinions of the hosts of Apostates on the Fringe do not represent the views and opinions of the Atheist Society of Knoxville. For links to all our musical contributors, go to apostatepod.com and check the About Us page. A big thank you to Michael Scott Arden, who allows the show to use his full catalog.